Before we get started, I want to take a minute and thank, first of all of you. The fact that you showed up, the fact that you flew here, drove here, students, where's my Palmer students? They drove all the way from Davenport. We got some Life students here, come all the way from Georgia. Our Cleveland students, our Parker students, all of our students, all of you that came here, you should be applauded for the fact that you got up and you made it happen. That's taking action. So thank you. I have got to give a huge thank you to your one and only, Miss Brooke Jones. Ricky never really gets a whole lot of, up here thanks, but there's a lot that goes into this. And here's what's really kind of sad. Everybody comes up and hugs me and thanks me and tells me what a great job this is. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, I don't know what happened. She killed it. You guys think so? Want to thank our sound crew. Man, we've had a few bumps here and there, but it's electronics. There's demons in electronics. I know for a fact because they come out. And then our student volunteers that come and help put on everything. So there's a lot that goes into this weekend, and we've been doing this for 12 years, and I could not have been happier with the way it went off today. So thank you, everybody. Now, you've heard a lot of amazing talks this weekend. You agree? Man, I sat back here, and I don't know how many times I teared up. Damn you, Devin. I mean, Lord, that child, she's like my little sister, and I've listened to her speak so many times, and every time she does, I hang on every word because I know her. And Billy, well, there's Billy. Here's the thing about Billy, I know his heart. I know every speaker that was on this stage this weekend are very close friends of mine that I know very well, or I've looked up to and respected for so many years. That's why they're here, because there's a message that I want to share with you. This profession deserves more, a hell of a lot more than it's getting. And that's what we're going to talk about. But I have my vision through the years. I've been in practice 27 years now or something like that. And I've been all over the world. I've literally been all over the world working with chiropractors and all over this country. And I've worked with students and chiropractors and doctors. And I've just seen so much in my practice. We've just been through so much. And I look at it, it's like, well, you always hear this, how are we going to improve the profession? Or how are we going to lift it up? Or what are we going to do? And there's all these different things. And my personal opinion is, well, the way we're going to do it, the way I'm going to try to do that is, I'm going to try to take each individual chiropractor that I came in contact with and lift them up. Because just like ADIO, healing comes from above down, inside out, does it not? And we're getting ready to get into that pretty heavy. But let me explain something to you. The chiropractor grows from the inside out. And if I can get inside of you, if I can speak inside of you, then I can get the chiropractor more successful, seeing more patients, laying hands on more, making more money. We have got to get over this poverty damn complex that chiropractors have. It is not wrong. I mean, freaking, the other professions are making a freaking fortune and no one, comes down on them, and they're killing people. We save lives and we're not supposed to be successful. But here's the thing. I don't know, Jeremy was talking about this. I know I'm over 60 of my students or my patients become chiropractors through the years. Some of them are here today. And here's the thing. They wouldn't want to go be a chiropractor if I was broke and depressed. Right? Matter of fact, I had a chiropractic mother call me one time. She was the wife of a chiropractor. Of a chiropractor outside of town here. She called me and said she wants her son to go to chiropractor, but she wants me to talk to him because his dad is so miserable that he doesn't want to do what his dad does. That broke my heart. So in order for me to articulate my passion and what I'm wanting for each and every one of you in the room and the profession, I want to I think it's important that you know where I come from and why I'm this way, right? So this house right here, if you drive, I've been to Branson. Okay, so you all know where it's at, right? It's down in the hills. You know, if you've ever been to Silver Dollar City, the hillbillies that that at Silver Dollar City, they're probably all related somehow. I'm pretty sure. This is so far down in the hills of Missouri that you just have to know how to get there. I mean, when I was a kid, I was living there in the first grade, and it was a 20-minute walk to the next house, and it was an old couple that lived there. They never come out of the house, and then I had to ride my bike another down the dirt road in order to help milk goats so we'd have goat milk. This is where I started. We didn't have money. We really didn't have, when I say we didn't have anything of possession. But what I did have is I had principles and values. I had two parents that loved me. I had a father that would wear my ass out if I stepped out of line, which was a lot. But I look at where I come from, and this journey started here, and there were so many things that I was learning, realized I was learning. It was one of those things when you're driving, I reflect back, when you're driving down the road, a dirt road, and there's another vehicle coming, almost always, you stopped, turned the vehicle off, and you sit and talked. No one does that anymore. It was human interaction. I learned to be kind. I learned to be honest, transparent, because that's just the way you work. This is where I live now. And the journey from here to here, I get asked a lot, how did you go from there? And you may ask, how did that happen? Well, thank you for asking. Well, first, this happened. Started chiropractic school January of 1991. Cleveland Chiropractic School. My uncle was a chiropractor. I was chosen to be a chiropractor because it was not on my radar. God laid his hand on my shoulder while I was in the Navy, and he said, "You will be a chiropractor." It was a knowing, and it had nothing to do with money or success or patient volume. It had nothing to do other than in my heart I knew that this is what I was going to do. I knew nothing of philosophy. I knew nothing. And I started chiropractic school, and God put this human being in my path. And this man, like some of you in this room, and Jeremy talked about, this man spoke chiropractic into me. I knew that this was what I was supposed to do. I didn't know what that meant until this gentleman was brought into my life. And through the years of 27 years, 28, however many years now, there's so many things that happen in practice and in my life that I reflect back on the things that he taught that I didn't even know I was learning, which we're getting ready to get in the middle of, but this happened. And so he spoke the principle of chiropractic, the importance of what we do. This man. And I absolutely cannot go on one more minute until I have him and his beautiful wife Judy. Please stand up and let's thank the greatest living chiropractic legend on the planet right now, Dr. Hiko Gibson. Love you. Love you. I could stand up here for hours and talk about the messages that he taught me, but so it's planted. The seed is planted. I was called. He spoke into me. But I was a train wreck. No one here in this room knew me before, but I was kind of a mess. And God said, well, if I chose you to be a chiropractor, and I put this man in your place, I'm going to have somebody guide you. Thank my God. for this person. Whew. I waited to thank her for this one. Nothing in my world happens without her. When we met, we were both a bit of a storm. You know, a good friend of ours, when we first started dating, we were holding hands at this place we used to hang out at, and he looked at her and he looked at me. He shook his head and he said, well, this is going to go one way or the other. And we laugh about that a lot, and we went through a bunch, but I will tell you, she saw something in me. I told her, I said, I'm going somewhere. I don't know where, but I'm going. I don't know what it looks like. I feel it. And she looked me dead in the eye and she said, I'll go with you. And then this happened. This is what she gave me on top of just direction and taking care of everything. She allowed me to be who I was, and then this happened. And you know, speakers all the time, they'll get up here and they'll talk about their why and their purpose and all that. And I'm not going to tell you that this is my why and this is not my why of chiropractic. It's not. It was ordained. It was divine intervention, what I'm allowed to do. But what I will tell you is this right here gave me focus, gave me direction, gave me purpose of life. And what's crazy is this turns into this real fast. And they're sitting back here right now, except for my boy. He's not here. But man, they show up to listen to Pawpaw talk, and I almost started crying because this is everything, right? And you guys get that. You know what? So the reason I bring all this up is because you get out of school, you're students, you're in school, right? And you're going through all this, and you get out of school, you start building a practice, and you start building life, and you put your head down, and you're just trying to make it because these people are depending on you. You have to step up. And fortunately, I had a partner, a teammate that took care of everything. I don't know what my house payment is. I don't know what much we pay in taxes. I don't know any of that stuff. She handles everything. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, because I would screw it up. She's excellent too. She knows that I do what I do and she does everything else. And between the two of us, we've created a life that I can't even articulate to you how amazing it is. It's absolutely amazing. And when I looked at that picture, I just, oh my gosh, we started out so young. We started out so naive. We had no clue what was going on. And then this happens. Now, how does this help you? Well, along the way of all this and building the practice, and you know, I was an associate for the first 3 years, and there's a lot of baggage that comes with that. And then Shannon and I, we decided to open our own practice, and we open up and just trying to figure it out and learn. Had great teachers, great mentors. And then this happens. These are my other wives. Cretia, I guess it would be on my right side, 21 and a half years she's been with us. Krista just celebrated 20 years. I hired Cretia when she was 19, Krista was 21. They were babies. We were all babies, really. And they come to the office, and Shannon trained them, and then they took over, and the three of us took this chiropractic principle, that took this chiropractic practice, and we freaking ran with it. And we're still running today. Now, we've got Dr. Steve, we've got Dr. Adam, we've got an amazing team now that we've grown to, but it started right here. And 21 years later, it's just amazing that they've actually put up with me for that long. You can imagine this crazy person in the office. And along the way of building this huge practice, I mean, we started with 0 and we went to over 900 patients a week, and we've had so much fun and we've done so many amazing things. But then I looked up one day and I went, wait a minute. You know, I talked to you a little bit this weekend. I said, you know, there's the two kinds of people that make things happen, and people go, well, what the hell just happened? Well, I was that person. Years ago, I was that person that said, what the hell just happened? Where's my profession? What's going on? Why are chiropractors failing? Why are they shutting their practice? Why are they struggling? What is happening? Shouldn't happen, because I've got this big, beautiful family. I've got this beautiful life. He spoke chiropractic to me. I'm a chiropractor. Why isn't everybody successful? And it drives me freaking crazy. It's absolutely insane. There is absolutely you can't give me a reason why every chiropractor isn't hugely successful. It's ridiculous. But I will tell you, I figured it out. Well, I didn't figure it out. I kind of knew it, and this man said this. And you've seen it a couple of times, because the students that spoke this weekend did an amazing job. They stole my slide, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Your chiropractic adjustment is your signature, and it defines who you are as a chiropractor. I want you all to listen to what I just said. Chiropractors, your chiropractic adjustment is your signature, and it defines who you are as a chiropractor. Here, in my opinion, is what's wrong with this profession right now. There's a lot of things wrong. But one, all they're doing is preaching and shoving the science down your throat. Evidence-based, functional medicine. I didn't even know what the hell that meant, functional medicine. What is that? I had actually asked somebody, well, it's, you want to have a conversation with your patients about lifestyle change and nutrition. What? If Dee Dee Palmer would have gave Harvey Lillard a banana instead of an adjustment, we wouldn't be sitting here today. What do you mean lifestyle change? Let me ask you all a question. You got a patient that walks through your door and they're 100 pounds overweight, they're unhealthy. Do you think for a minute they don't have a set of bathroom scales or a mirror at home? Well, you probably should lose a little weight. Oh, thank you, Dr. Young. I had no idea. Smoking's bad for you. Really? No one told me that. You should probably eat a little better. What? I thought McDonald's was better. No one says that. We're freaking chiropractors, and they're shoving this stuff down our throat because anybody at Gold's Gym can do that, and it's easy to teach. It's easy to teach somebody, to tell somebody to go do something that they're not even freaking doing, but you can teach that, you can test on that. But you know what they can't teach? They can't teach a specific chiropractic adjustment with intention. They can't teach that because they don't know it. I know it because I learned it. And we're losing it. We're losing who we are as a profession. The profession is being taken away from us one adjustment at a time. I know this for a fact because I spend time with the students. Students, raise your hand or stand up if you've been in my adjusting class that are here. This is our future. And I get you can sit back down. I get these kids from all over the world, really, and I get 20 or 30 in a class, and there's another 20 or 2 or 3,000 that are getting taught the most ridiculous, disgusting version of manipulation I've ever seen in my life. It's absolutely insane. And so what happens is they get out of practice and they have not got a clue what to do at all. They're terrified. So what they start doing, they start giving nutritional advice and start talking about lifestyle change because they don't know what a freaking specific adjustment is. Gang, listen, I love this profession so much. And Dr. Gibson and I, we had this conversation many times, and we had it again last night. Our creator of this universe and who we are has given us the most amazing gift called chiropractic. He's given us a gift of knowing, of understanding where health comes from. We understand that when you take your hands and you move a bone specifically with intention, right direction at the right time through the facet, not manipulation, a specific adjustment, when you do that, you're releasing infinite intelligence and power into the body that can heal anything. And it's not something that we know, it's Dr. Gibson, it's not something that we believe, we know. They don't know it anymore. They don't believe it anymore. They're taking it away. What they're being taught is manipulate the mid-back 5 or 6 times, and if they don't feel better, refer them out. That is what's being taught. Chiropractors, some of you have been in practice for years. And what happens is you start out with the best intention, but then you start going through the motion, you get a busy practice, and then the next thing you know, you turn into this pop and pray and hope they pay practice, and all you're doing is manipulating the back and twisting the neck a few times. You made a pretty good living. That's not chiropractic. That is not what's going to save this profession. It's not. It is not going to save this profession. There are so many aspects to chiropractic that you've got to be right with you. You've got to know who you are, what you do, and why you do it. You've got to understand our philosophy. You've got to understand without a shadow of a doubt, it cannot even be a question in your mind that there is a universal intelligence that permeates and reflects through all living tissue and is expressed as innate intelligence. It is there. You can't deny it. If you deny it, you're dead in the water. You might as well say the sun won't shine tomorrow and stand out there and let it burn your face and keep denying it, because that's about how smart that is. There is a universal intelligence that is in control. Every patient that walks through your office has 100% of innate intelligence within their body. They don't walk in at 80% intelligence. It's 100%. The problem is what we're being taught and what we're watering the profession down to is that we have to do everything else but the adjustment. I was even told one time on Facebook I read that, and this was a teacher at one of the other universities, this is what the teacher said: the chiropractic manipulation is just something that some chiropractors do sometimes for lower back pain. Did you all hear what I just said? This is our profession. Neil said it, 85% of the profession, the schools, that's what they're teaching. Listen, I've got a patient that came to me several months ago. She drove 2.5 hours one way from almost near the panhandle of Oklahoma. She come in and she had essential tremors so bad that her whole body just shook. She couldn't button her shirt. She couldn't feed herself. She couldn't read. She's late 60s, just miserable. She'd been to the Mayo Clinic. She'd been on I don't know how many different medications. The woman was, and this had been going on for years. And so I didn't concern myself with the essential tremors. I didn't concern myself with lifestyle change or nutrition. I didn't do any of that. I took a damn x-ray and I looked at her occiput and I told her that you have stress in your spine right here. We've got to remove the stress. We've got to restore proper motion back into this area. We've got to maintain this motion long enough for the body to heal. Now, whether or not your tremors go away, I'm not sure. But I do know that this stress shouldn't be there. So this is what I do. And she said, well, everybody else has tried everything else, so let's do this. She lays on her back, and I rock that occiput like nobody's business. I mean, you could have heard it in a parking lot. I think her eyes got that big. She was in and out of, she come twice a week because it was like 2.5 hours there, 2.5 hours back. She's in and out of my office in less than a minute, you guys. Probably 40 seconds. She come in, she set her purse down, she laid it on her back, I moved the occiput, I helped her up, I told her I loved her, be careful going home, thanks Dr. Young, and out the door she went. I did not put on a freaking production, I did not fluff it, I didn't rub her feet, I didn't talk to her about Pilates or ask her if she ate her granola this morning. I didn't do any of that. I adjusted her, specific with intention from my heart. And listen to me, I don't go through the freaking motions. I don't just go through the motions. When I make an adjustment on this table, when I make an adjustment, does everybody have the wristband? Everybody got your little wristbands? This SFT that's on there? This is what I want all chiropractors. I want every chiropractor in this room. I want this on your arm right there where you can read SFT Monday morning. When a patient lays on my table, when they lay on their back, when she laid on her back, I see it. I see the bone. I see the direction I want to take it. I feel it. Before I ever adjust, I feel it. I see it, I feel it, and I trust. I trust because this man 30 years ago said, if you move the bone and get out of the way, and it'll take care of itself. So that's what I did. I helped her up. What else needs to be done to give her good quality care? I spend an hour with my patients. I care about my patients, so I spend time with them. No, you're wasting their damn time. You're disrespectful. Because this time is one thing we don't get back, our health and our time. So about 5-6 weeks into it, she comes in. I've got an office packed. And I'm throwing, and I told the adjusting class a story the other day, but I'm kind of throwing myself under the bus a little bit, but I'm just being honest. I'm transparent. She's coming in, and people are moving, and I'm adjusting. I'm focusing on moving the bone. I'm moving the bone. I'm moving the bone. And she comes in, she sets her purse down. She says, Dr. Young, look. And in that brief moment, I was like, in my head, I didn't say it out loud, what? Like, come on. This office is packed. We got to go. They're waiting on me to adjust them too. And I said, yes. She goes, no, look. She was barely moving. She said, my husband and I went to dinner last night for the first time. We went on a date, and I myself. Walked around my table, and I went up to her, and I hugged her, and we cried. I don't even know how long. I mean, literally bawled. And it reached inside my heart. First of all, slow down, shut up, pay attention. You're not that damn busy. Second of all, the power, the magic of the adjustment. No, listen, you can get all analytical, and you can try to just break it down and be scientific and write a paper on what just happened. I don't have to do any of that stuff. I know what happened. I put motion in a joint, I removed the subluxation, innate took over, the brain communicated to the body, and it healed. Yes? Yes. The problem with chiropractic is it's so simple in its application. It's so simple in its understanding. It is so simple that the smart people screw it up. They're so damn smart they figured out a way to screw it up. And it is not that hard. It is not that hard. Now, when we're talking about the art, it is hard, and it takes work, and it takes practice, just like any other art, just like any other art. I still to this day, I teach this stuff, and I still to this day, when I give an adjustment, when I was adjusting Billy earlier, I didn't go through the motions. I went somewhere deep. This is my brother. This is a human being that is trusting me with their life to turn it back on. And if I just walked up there and twisted his neck, what a disrespect to my Creator and to my Maker, to my profession, and to Him. I will not disrespect any of those entities, ever. I won't disrespect this man that told me and taught me and showed me what a chiropractic adjustment was. And I'm going to tell you right now, chiropractic adjustment is not manipulation. It is not cavitation. It is not soft tissue work. Drives me freaking crazy. I do low force soft tissue. What the hell is that? You get hit from behind at 40 miles an hour, and your head goes to the back seat and comes back, and someone's going to touch you and get it better? No. You got to move the bone, and it takes work. The art of chiropractic takes work, and it takes work every visit, every single time, every day. You have to see it, you have to feel it, and you have to trust it. Now, when I was up here talking to Dr. Ed earlier, when we were talking about the story, see, there was a day, you think about this. This chiropractic profession was created on an anecdotal story. Because there was no one present when Dee Dee adjusted Harvey. There was no one there. They just went and told the story. And then another patient come in, and then another patient come in. And what happened was our profession was built off of just normal people that could not get help from anyone else, that there was no one else could help them. They went everywhere else, and they went and saw a chiropractor, and back then, you think about that. We know what chiropractic is. Our patients know what chiropractic is. But can you imagine those first 10 or 15 patients? Lay down, I'm going to take my hand, and I'm going to just knock the snot out of your atlas. You're going to do what? No, you're not. You think we got it tough to get new patients? Can you imagine being the first 5 chiropractors and going out and telling people who've never even heard the word before what you're going to do? I think about that a lot. It's like, good night. Could you imagine, that marketing scheme? But what happens is they did. 1919, the flu almost took out our whole country. And because of chiropractors, people lived that went to the chiropractor, died when they went to the medical doctor, and they went to become chiropractors. They had a story. I broke my back in a car accident. I was told I would limp for the rest of my life and I'd never pick up another weight. Several bodybuilding championships later and never limped in my life. God called me to be a chiropractor. I had a story. I knew it worked. And some of you have, but there are so many students that go into school now. Well, I'm going to be a dentist, I'm going to be a physical therapist, I'm going to be a medical doctor. Well, I didn't pass all those tests, so maybe I'll go to chiropractic. There are so many students that I work with that have never been adjusted before, which is a little bit bizarre when you think about it, but they don't have a story. And that's what Dr. Cordero and I were talking about. They get in school, and then now here's the problem, is they're being taught by chiropractors who didn't have a story. They went to a school, they didn't learn the principle, they didn't learn how to adjust, graduated, they failed in practice, they need a job, school needs a teacher, they come back, they pay them $30,000 a year to teach our next group of students how to fail in practice also. This is what's happening. And I'm not here to bash on the schools. Well, you know what? Yes, I am, damn it. I'm pissed off too, Devin. Yes, I am. Because you know what? They should be held responsible. I just found this out, that we've got a school not too far from here that is doing online classes only. You can't even go to the damn school, but they're still charging the students for parking and all this other stuff. And they're taking that money and they raise tuition. They should be held accountable. I think 100% they should be held accountable. They're taking over $200,000 of their money and kicking them out saying, good luck. And then we're out here in the profession saying, let us help you, but we're coming to find out they don't even know what chiropractic is. Like poor Devin, she was second year in school before she even knew what a green book was. Thank God for that, man. I knew what a green book was when I was in school. One of the greatest lessons he ever taught us, he took our class down to the cadaver lab. It was our philosophy class. And we went down to the cadaver lab and he moved the sheet and he said, what's missing? Of course, none of us would answer because we didn't want to sound stupid. We're like, I don't know, the liver? It's a cadaver. I don't know who cut what out of there. And you don't want to say anything because Dr. Gibson is my hero. I love him so much. But back then, he was a scary-ass man. We were terrified of him. You didn't get out of line. So no one said anything. So he just put the sheet back over and walked back up to class. We followed him up there. He just started lecturing, never said another word about it. Years later, it was revealed to me what was missing. Yes. That's what we work with, you guys. So when you make a specific adjustment, it's not about the damn noise. What's going on in there? And here's what's crazy. I don't know how many times this has happened. You guys hear the stories all the time about the chiropractic miracles. Someone's going into a seizure and you make an adjustment and the seizure stops, or someone's got a migraine. I had a patient here not too long ago that was actually carried in. And I set that fifth lumbar, I went after it and he walked out. But what about the chiropractic miracles that you don't see? What about the adjustments that you make? You got Mary that's been coming to you for 10 years. She's been coming every 2 weeks for 10 years. She doesn't have any problems that you know of, and you make an adjustment, and you just go through, you adjust, and you make this adjustment. And you're thinking about everything else but what you're supposed to be doing, but she's fine with it because he feels good, and then she leaves. But what you don't understand was that adjustment was a miracle because it prevented her from getting cancer. It prevented her from getting a migraine, which she starts taking medications, which destroys the liver, and now she's got liver failure. You adjust the baby, you take the stress off that nervous system. Now that child doesn't develop asthma or allergies or all the other things, the ear infections. Now they're on all these medications, their bodies are broken down, and they're sick for the rest of their life. You made that adjustment. That's a freaking miracle. Or you don't, and it's not. But I'm going to tell you right now, probably one of the most important aspects of the chiropractic adjustment, in my opinion, after all these years and all the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of adjustments that I've delivered, I think the most important aspect of the chiropractic adjustment is the intention behind it. You agree, Dr. Gibson? Because any professional wrestler can jump up and down on your back and make a noise. Hell, my oldest daughter, who's back here, Ashley, she was a gymnast. And I watched the gymnast when she was 7, 8, 9 years old. They were down on we were up in this observation room with all the parents, and I would look down there, and the gymnasts would lay on their stomachs and put their hands behind their back, and their friend would sit on their back and grab their elbows and pull them back and adjust them down there on the floor. And all the parents would whip around and look at me like, I didn't teach them that. That wasn't my fault. So anybody can do that. You guys, listen, anybody can manipulate. Anybody can make a noise. It's the intention behind it. See it, feel it, trust it, understand it. Understand that when you make a chiropractic adjustment, what just happened? It's not just the noise. And I don't care if it's a baby or a 90-year-old. I can literally stand up here and tell chiropractic stories, and Dr. Gibbs can, and most of you in this room can. Dr. Boyce's dad, mom and dad are here. If we had a whole day of just drinking beer and telling chiropractic stories, it'd be the happiest day of my life. I just love hearing the chiropractic stories from the guys who've been there and done it. You realize there was a day at Palmer that the ambulances actually brought patients to the school because no one else could help them? What changed? What changed? What's changed from the day, Herbert Ross Reaver, the most jailed chiropractor. You guys know the story, right? Or everybody know of him, yes? Herbie Reaver. Went to prison for 6 months labor. He would not pay a $25 fine or $50, whatever the fine was. All he had to do was pay a little fine, but he said no, and he went to prison on the principle. But the deeper story is his wife, Millie, they were married for, 60, 70 years or whatever it was. Millie came to his office as a 15-year-old girl dying of tuberculosis. Dying. They were getting ready to send her to an asylum. And back in those days, that just meant a place to go die. She was coughing up blood. She was on her way out. And a friend said, why don't you go see my chiropractor? So she did, and she said, Dr. Reaver, the problem is I have no money and you can't tell my parents. Well, he starts adjusting her. 2 or 3 weeks into it, mother says, Millie, what's going on? You haven't been coughing at all. And so she's like, okay, well, maybe this is a good time since I'm getting better. She won't be so mad. I've been going to see this chiropractor, and mom flipped out. Wait till your father gets home. So father gets home, he says, oh, that must be the chiropractor everybody at work's going to. Millie lived a full life. Tuberculosis went away. Why are we not doing that now? What has happened to our profession that we have just watered it down and given up, thrown our hands up and go, yeah. And here's the thing too, I've heard this weekend, and this is something that drives me absolutely insane. This whole being accepted by who? I don't care to be accepted by anyone but that patient laying in front of me. I catch hell all the time about seeing 100 patients in 3 hours. You can't be given good care. You must be a cesspool. It must be this and must be that. Your opinion doesn't make a damn to me. The only opinion that matters to me is that person laying on my table, because they wouldn't be there if I wasn't giving them what they want. After this many years, I'd have been shut down a long time ago. They get up, they drive in their car, they come to my office for one reason, an adjustment. Not just an adjustment. When I adjust you, I've got the Spirit of the Lord through Dr. Gibson in my hands. I'm moving that bone. And if anyone's ever been adjusted by me, you know what I'm talking about. But my patients, that's all they know. That's what they come to expect. That's why they get in their car and drive to my office. I don't have to be accepted by the medical profession. I don't have to have a paper written that proves to the profession that what I'm doing is right. I don't care. Because like Billy said, the actual general public, they believe in chiropractic more than the chiropractors do. They do. It's absolutely baffling to me that chiropractors are so freaking blind to the power that we have in our hands. Like Devin said, the power of the world is in our hands. Every time I make an adjustment, it is a reflection of God through my heart, and it's an extension of my soul to theirs, Dr. Gibson. You taught us that. Do you guys understand that? Look, you come here this weekend and you get all pumped up and we're going to go save the world. How? How in the hell are you going to save the world? Run for president. Don't want that job. You know how you're going to save the world? You know how you're going to make a difference? You know how I've decided to make a difference? One bone at a time. One bone at a time. When a patient lays on my table, I do not care what's going on out there. Listen, I was called to, I didn't want to do this, but I did it anyway. I was called to, after, practice, we started a state association. We now have the largest state association in the history of this state. I'm proud of that. This year's 10 years that we did that. We have focus. My gosh, the lives that have been changed in this room, I hear the stories, and I'm so proud of that. I really, really am. But here's the thing. Then I got called, like chiropractors are struggling. They want to know how I see. How do you see, 103 hours and 240 and 50 in a day? How do you do that repeatedly through the years without no marketing, just word of mouth? How do you do that? Well, I was called to show and teach. So now we have a coaching group, Foundations. I was called to do that. But none of this stuff is possible had I not received the message, learned how to take my hands and move that, continue to move the bone. None of this is possible without a specific chiropractic adjustment, and it happens one bone at a time. And so when a patient comes in, I'm so focused on what I'm doing, and I told the guys in our coaching group, and I want all you to do this. Everybody that practice on Monday, here's what I want you to do. Every thought that you have in your brain when you're with your patient, at that moment, whatever you're thinking is going to be typed out on a screen for everybody in the waiting room to read. Uncomfortable, isn't it? I did this with my group, and I had Dr. Tyler Bowden. He called me. He said, you sent that message out, and I have to be honest with you, I kind of puckered a little bit. He said, but I did it. And he said, I had a record day. Because you're thinking about what you're supposed to be thinking about. Most chiropractors, what they do is they go to their office, they're thinking about golf or something else, and they go on a golf course and they talk about the practice. Why don't you pay attention to the practice when you're in the practice? We're talking about balance this weekend. You want balance? Pay attention to one thing at a time. Listen, when you lay your hands on a patient, when this patient lays on that table, and as soon as you touch them, you do not speak. If you're talking, you're not paying attention. It's disrespectful. Period. Matter of fact, if you're talking about anything in your office that's not pertaining to them or their health, it's disrespectful. But see, this is where we're getting so sidetracked because we've let the profession water down. So the reason I started Focus, and the reason you guys are here, most of everybody here, students, you come because you need to know what chiropractic is because you're damn sure not getting it at school. They are not teaching you what chiropractic is. They're teaching you to pass a board, which you've got to do, but it's not chiropractic. Many of the doctors that are here today, you come because you're just looking for a spark. You're looking for some insight, maybe a little excitement, maybe a little perspective to go back and do something more with it. Yes? I'm going to tell you, with all the excitement, everything we've heard is absolutely amazing. But here's what I'm going to tell everybody. If you want to change the world, you're going to do it one bone at a time. And what you're going to do is you're going to start paying attention to the bones that you're moving. You're going to focus with intention, the right direction at the right time, with the right force, the right speed. And you're going to do it with love in your heart. You're going to make that adjustment. And you're going to set them up. And you're going to tell them when to come back. That's how you're going to do it. And it happens no other way. So here's the thing. You do that. You focus on that. Here's what's going to happen, chiropractors. When you do that, that patient is going to respond innately. See, I don't do patient education. You can do it outside of your office like Billy does. I don't have to. I allow innate to educate my patients because when I move that bone, I don't care what they're thinking before I move it. I know what they're feeling after. And so when they go home and their body starts to shift and change, there's no argument there. See, they can argue with me. This is what I'm going to do, and this is how your body's going to respond, and this is what's going to go on, and they're going to go, yeah, I'm not buying any of that. I don't say any of those things. I just say, come back tomorrow. And they probably walk out the door going, I don't know if I'm coming back tomorrow. When they wake up the next day, they're a complete different human being. They're going, I've got to go get some more of that. So I don't have to educate. Innate does that for me. But listen, if you guys will just understand that if you will move one bone with intention and then move the next one with intention, do not manipulate. Focus on what you're doing. Oh, for God's sakes, take your spine and study it. Understand what you're doing in the first place. It is an art form. It is an art form. Have you guys ever seen dueling pianos? You guys know what that is? Are you guys still out there? Okay, you guys know what dueling pianos are? All right, so you got two piano players. You got one over here and one over here, and they're playing back and forth, and they're playing music, and it's a lot of fun, and everybody's engaged, and they're singing to the crowd, and they're back and forth, and it's a great time. They're musicians. They're artists. But they got a tip jar on the piano. Now, have you ever seen, and if you haven't, I want you to go on YouTube and pull up Carnegie Hall pianist. Thousands of people flew in from all over the world, paid thousands of dollars for a seat. He or she walks in the room. You can hear a pin drop. She sits down, or he sits down at the piano, raises the lid, and before those fingers hit those keys, there was so much focus and intention on the art that what comes out is undescribable. Now, you can be the dueling piano and play for tips, or you can be a Carnegie Hall pianist and be widely successful throughout the world with the right amount of focus on your art. It's up to you. It's absolutely up to you. So this is why I started Focus, because there's a message that needs to be heard. I love this profession with everything that I got. If you have any doubt about how much I love this profession, pull my wife aside, pull my kids aside, and ask them, does he really? Does he really? See what they say. Chiropractic has given me so much. I get up every morning, and this is not a joke, this is reality. I wake up every morning, and I get up, and I walk out, and I push the button on my fancy coffee maker that grinds my fresh coffee, and as it's pouring my coffee, I look around at my home, and I look at where I live, and I just start laughing. How in the world did I get from the sticks to these bricks? I'm laughing because I don't know if I deserve it, but what I do know is I have served with my heart. I've served with my intention. I've never done it for personal gain, ever. I don't do this for personal gain. I do it because it's right. I know in my heart that my Creator has given me this gift of chiropractic, and it is my duty to deliver. But it's disrespectful when my Creator gives me gifts and says, "Job well done," that I don't accept those gifts. Do you understand that? So the reason I started Focus OKC, the reason I bring these speakers, the reason we do this, the purpose behind this is to take the ones that took the time to sit and listen, speak chiropractic into you. That way you can then go back to your practice and make that bone move. And then what happens is that patient changes. And they go tell someone else, and then they come in, and they go somewhere else, and they come in. And the next thing you know, your practice has grown by 50, 100, 200, 300 visits a week. Across the board. If I could get 1,000 chiropractors to see 100 more patients a week, do the math. 1,000 chiropractors seeing 100 more patients a week with adjustments. Would that make a difference in the profession? Would that make a difference in your life? So, your chiropractic adjustment is your signature and defines who you are as a chiropractor. I want this written down. I want you to read it every day. I want this on your hand. I want you to see, feel, and trust every adjustment you deliver from this moment on. Students, if you're practicing, see, feel, trust. Every visit, every adjustment from this moment on. Do not let that slip. I want everyone in this room to commit. And I'm holding your feet to the fire. I used to be real hesitant on this stuff because I'm kind of getting like Billy. I'm starting to get a little older, and I'm getting to the point I don't give a damn no more. I'm going to tell you what's on my mind. You better be here next year. And not only come next year, you better bring somebody with you. I don't care if they want to come or not. Bring them kicking and screaming. I promise you they won't be mad at you when they're done. We have a job to do. And we can't save the world until we save ourselves. And we can't save ourselves until we focus on that specific adjustment. CAs, what I want you to do is I want you to see to it that your doctors have nothing to do in the office, that you run the show, that all they have to do. When I walk in my office, I walk in, morning ladies, morning doc, I read my x-rays, I take a deep breath, At 9:20, I turn the door handle, they can hear it, and it is game on. I do nothing in my office but adjust. They take care of everything. If the coffee maker blows up, if there's water pouring in the bathroom, if the software falls apart, it does not matter. I will never know. They see to it that their doctor is focused on the adjustment, because they understand if my doctor is focused on the adjustment, the practice grows, collections grows, and so does my income. There's nothing wrong with that. We're in a team. So if we're going to do this, if we're going to get up Monday morning, we're going to leave focus, we're going to go back home, we're going to be fired up, we're going to make a huge difference in the people that we touch. I don't want you to change the world. Right now, that's not even my issue right now. What I want you to do is I want you to change the focus that you have on the very next patient you adjust. I want that intentional, I want it powerful, and I want it coming from your soul. And the last question I'm going to ask you is, if your chiropractic adjustment is your signature and it defines who you are as a chiropractor, how do you want to be defined? This is what I want you to think about the rest of the night and the rest of the weekend. How do you want to be defined as a chiropractor? When people leave your office and they go talk to someone else, what's the definition of they're going to give of you? When your colleagues talk about you, what's the definition? When your family talks about you, and more importantly, when you look in the mirror, who do you see and how do you define you? There's no way of articulating and letting you know how much I appreciate and love every single one of you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your love. And I will see you next year.